The world is full of mysteries, many of them many centuries old. Though experts have spent lifetimes puzzling over certain ancient artifacts, they remain unsolved. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 mysterious ancient artifacts that have baffled scientists. The Roman Dodecahedrons. Our first mystery dates back to the Romans. It's a hollow object with 12 equally sized faces. The first Roman dodecahedron was found more than 200 years ago, and since then around 100 more have been unearthed around what was the Roman Empire. Some of these locations include that of Wales, Hungary, Spain, Italy, Germany and France, to name a few. But the 12 faces are about the only uniform thing about the Roman dodecahedrons. Some are made of bronze while others are made of stone, and their size has varied from a golf ball to bigger than a football. In fact, one of the only things that experts are sure of when it comes to these mysterious objects is that they were extremely valuable. Many of the Roman dodecahedrons were made from metal, an expensive and difficult material to craft in Roman times, and were discovered in treasure hoards alongside other precious items such as coins. Beside their value, there hasn't been much agreement from experts into the purpose of the Roman dodecahedrons. Evidence is scarce. None were found with any inscriptions, nor is there any mention of the objects in contemporary documents. Experts having examined the Roman dodecahedrons have put forward uses of the object spanning from knitting to weaponry. Granted, some theories of the Roman dodecahedron's use have proved more feasible than others. For example, the idea that they might have been used as weapons has been dismissed by many experts. The usual heavy and robust lead balls the Romans favoured firing from their slings in wartime sharply contrast to the light and delicate Roman dodecahedrons. However, the link between Roman dodecahedrons and weaponry cannot be completely dismissed. The different locations in which these artifacts were unearthed could link to war zones in the Roman Empire. And just because the objects might not have been used as weapons doesn't mean they weren't still in use in a military context. Hence, some experts have proposed the Roman dodecahedrons could have been used as a range-measuring object on the battlefield. This also explains why so many of these artifacts varied in size and shape. The differentiation of the objects would allow for different ranges to be measured. However, before celebrating that the mystery has been solved, some experts have questioned why the Roman dodecahedrons would then have no markings or inscriptions on them if they were being used as a military mathematical instrument. Another line of thinking is that the Roman artifacts might have held a mystical power for the Romans. One was found in a grave belonging to a wealthy woman in the Netherlands, mounted onto a staff. Its placement suggests that it was seen as giving some magical power to the owner. Another related line of thinking is that the 12 sides of the Roman dodecahedrons might be a reference to Plato's statement. This was that a dodecahedron shape was used for embroidering the constellations on the whole heaven and the astrological zodiac. Therefore, some experts have proposed that the Roman dodecahedrons might have been used as astronomic measuring instruments to determine when to prepare the grain. If the Roman artifacts were held in such high esteem by the Romans, it would explain why so many show so little signs of wear and tear. Then again, there is no contemporary document to support this claim. It's important to come to one definitive conclusion of the purpose of the Roman dodecahedrons. The objects continue to baffle experts, but what can be agreed by all is the uniqueness of this Roman treasure. The Buash map shows Antarctica without ice. For over 40,000 years, Antarctica has been covered by glaciers and snow, making it one of the most inhospitable places on the planet. The ice makes it impossible for Antarctica to be a home to any humans. However, there are some thinkers who believe this wasn't always so. The Buash map was drawn by French geographer Philippe Buache. Buache drew his maps by combining his geographic knowledge, research from contemporary explorers, and astronomical observation. The map he produced in 1739 was titled in French. However, when translated, it means map of the southern lands contained between the Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Pole, where the new discoveries made in 1739 to the south of the Cape of Good Hope may be seen. The biggest discovery on Buash's map was that it appeared to depict Antarctica before it was buried by ice, leading some explorers and geographers to use it as evidence that Antarctica was inhabited by an ancient civilization before being rediscovered in the 19th century. The most famous proponent of this theory was Charles Hapgood, who published Buash's map in his 1966 book Maps of the Ancient Sea Kings. However, the arguments of Hapgood and others have been met with criticism. Firstly, many argue that Hapgood did not take care in translating Buash's annotations on the map before publishing it, and if he had, he would have realized that Buash did not mean to depict an ice-free Antarctica. For example, there are multiple annotations over Antarctica on the map where Buash has written conjecturer and soupçonné, which translate as conjectured and suspected, showing Buash himself was not sure that human life could survive on Antarctica. What's more, the annotations also make frequent references to icebergs, freezing temperatures and glaciers over Antarctica. Icebergs are even drawn on the map. Therefore, for many, the argument that Buash was using the map to claim Antarctica was ice-free would be ludicrous. Secondly, two versions of Buash's map were created, one which shows Antarctica with ice and one without. This has led some to suspect that the latter version of Buash's map might have been drawn by another cartographer or even forged. Thirdly, there is every possibility that Buash was mistaken. Buash was a highly qualified man who was one of the foremost theoretical geographers, and a lot of deductions on his map have proved true. For example, the existence of Alaska and the Bering Strait. However, that is not to say his work was faultless. His map shows New Zealand as a peninsula of the Antarctic landmass and a central Antarctic Sea, both of which are incorrect. It's possible the map was drawn by Buash, but showing an ice-free Antarctica that could have housed an ancient civilization was just another mistake he made. The truth of the matter is, we will never know if Antarctica was once home to an ancient civilization. In some areas of Antarctica, there are 30 tons of ice weighing down on the land's surface. If this ice were to be removed, the land would be so low that sea levels would immediately flood it. Frustratingly, this means there is no way to prove or disprove Buash's map and the theories that have come from it. The Monte Prama Giants. The discovery of the giants of Monte Prama in Sardinia has enchanted experts for decades. The stone sculptures were first unearthed in the area of Monte Prama, located near the village of Cabras, when a farmer experienced extreme difficulty ploughing his land. Taking a closer look, he was shocked to find a stone remnant sticking up from the ground, which after digging unveiled itself to be a humongous stone head with double carved eyes. This marked the first sighting of the Monte Prama giants in centuries. Between 1975 and 1979, 5,000 pieces were recovered from the site, which ranged from heads and torsos of statues to large models of buildings, sacred stones, and giants' graves. The exact date the statues were created is still unclear. Hypotheses have fluctuated between the final Bronze Age and Iron Age. What is certain, though, is the Monte Prama giants mark the first statues of that size and nature discovered in European history. Archaeologist Miriam Scharf Balmuth calls it the most extraordinary find of the century in the realm of art history. But the knowledge coming from the Monte Prama giants goes a lot further than art history. It teaches us a considerable amount about Sardinian culture nearly 3,000 years ago. The material of the statues show that Sardinia was a rich land with access to exported goods such as metal through worldwide trade. Furthermore, the aesthetic of the statues with their double carved eyes is one not seen before and reveals avant-garde techniques of the time which must have come from the different cultures and artistic influences in Sardinia. The layout of the statues when discovered is also extremely interesting. Alongside the discovery of the Monte Prama statues were numerous stone slabs and tombs with large statues placed above them, almost as if the statues were there to guard this site. Furthermore, not all the statues look like they were stone warriors. Two statues in particular have been discovered which look different to the others. These two statues are wearing footwear and cone-shaped headwear, the clothing that would have been adorned by a magician or a priest. This has led experts to believe the site was once a heroon, a type of sanctuary dedicated to a hero. They suggest this heroon might have been used by the Sardinians to celebrate deceased nobles. A final mystery still remains, namely why the statues were destroyed into 1,000 pieces. Some of the deconstruction was partially brutal. Statues have had their heads taken off and their eye lines erased. Whether these impressive sculptures were destroyed by explorers, internal wars, or conquerors is unknown, and it looks like it will remain that way. But what do you make of these 3 ancient artifacts? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.